It is. I would be so cheated off of myself. Let's see here. Let's check stuff out here. It is. So, here's the question. Do I record the episode? Oh, one other thing here. I got testing. Aha! Alright, now we got that fixed. I'm going to mute my output here so I don't drive myself crazy. See if I'm going to do this again. I need show notes. You'll need to do something for that. Not that I really care. You can look into my house. But my wife does. Okay. Alright, let's do this again. And I'm not going to edit this show. So I'll put the audio out just as it is. Warts and all. But I am. Mute that. Hopefully that won't interfere with anything. Let's check. Testing. Alright, let's mute the output. And ready to go. Tonight, James McAvoy wants another of Patrick Stewart's roles. Star Wars movies get moved. And some news tidbits from Comic-Con, the home game. All that and more on the sci-fi edition of Multiverse tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello everyone, and welcome to the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight, episode number 86. I'm your host, Thomas Townley, and if you tried to join us earlier, originally I had a different opening for this show. This is the second time I've recorded this episode. Talk about save your podcast story. It turns out that the input that I thought was correct was wrong, and the input I had muted was right, and so they basically got twisted around. So basically, my output was muted, my input was fine. So now it's all good. That's fine and everything. So let's go on with the Star Trek news. James McAvoy wants to take over for Patrick Stewart again. This time not as Professor X, but as Jean-Luc Picard. Talking with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show, the Scottish star said, quote, "Jimmy, that is the only world that exists in which I play young Jean-Luc Picard. Any other world is just an alternate reality in a bad episode of Star Trek. It's happening. If they don't hire me, I'm going to make it on my phone. I'm calling that right now. I'm doing the virtual lockdown equivalent of rubbing my scent all over Patrick's face and saying, 'This territory is mine.' All the other bald actors can bleep off. It's me," unquote. Well, let's just think about that. He was a good Professor X. Now, I don't know if I can see him as Picard. Maybe, maybe he could do a guest spot as on an episode of Picard, or hear me out. How they rebooted the Star Trek movies. There has been talks about redoing the Next Generation in a movie format, so maybe they could do Star Trek: The Next Generation, alternate universe where James McAvoy is Picard. Just saying. Anyway, they'll make a good choice. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to Lower Decks next month on CBS All Access. Well, the official abbreviation has been given. CBS Consumer Products exec John Van Siders announced on Twitter, quote, "Per the combined powers of myself, Mike McMahon, and the glory of Kirk and Spock, it is LDS," unquote. I like LDS. LDS is good. By the way, the official merchandise is now available at shop.startrek.com. They have a logo shirt and mug available as well. The Lower Decks will premiere on CBS All Access on August 6th, and it will also be on CTV, Sci-Fi Channel, and Crave in Canada on August 6th as well. Now, those of you outside the US and Canada, no word yet on where the shows will be showing up. So, you know, look, wait here, and we'll find out. Now, speaking of Lower Decks, Deadline.com has learned that comedian Paul Scheer will be on the show as Lieutenant Commander Andy Billups, the chief engineer of the Cerritos, making him the boss of Ensign Rutherford, played by Eugene Cordero. And this news just broke today. Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery will start on October 15th, just 1 week after the conclusion of Lower Decks first season. So, in other words, you'll have Star Trek from the beginning of August to the end of the year. And after that is anyone's guess. The panel at Comic-Con at home for Star Trek showed off a logo for Star Trek Prodigy, the new Nickelodeon Star Trek series. The show follows a group of lawless teens who find a derelict Starfleet ship and use it for adventure, salvation, and the search for meaning. Now, the show is being developed by Emmy Award winners Kevin and Dan Hageman, and it'll be a computer-generated animated show versus the kind of animation they're doing on Lower Decks, and will debut on Nickelodeon in 2021. Star Trek Prodigy. Was Star Trek CompuServe or Star Trek America Online taken? Yeah. Just saying. Star Trek Picard Season 1 will arrive on Blu-ray and DVD and have a limited edition steelbook release on October 6th. The show will the DVD will have behind-the-scenes featurettes, a commentary for Episode 1, a look at the aliens, the crew, the props, the general kind of stuff that you get on those, and also deleted scenes and the gag reel, and have the short trek for Children of Mars. So there's your first gift buy for the holiday season. The fifth Star Trek The Cruise has been delayed due to, of course, the coronavirus. The new date for the cruise will be February 26th to March 5th, 2022, and will take place aboard the Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas, and will feature dozens of Trek quests. For more information, go to StarTrekTheCruise, all one word, .com. A little bit of sad news here. Doctor Who and Star Trek actor Maurice Roves has passed away at the age of 83. The Scottish actor's agents posted the following statement on Twitter, quote, "It was with great sadness that we confirmed the passing of our wonderful client, Maurice Roves. Maurice had a hugely successful career in both theatre and screen, which spanned several decades, starting in his home country of Scotland and moving to London and the United States. He was loved by his legions of fans for many of his performances, including Vince Diver in Tutti Frutti, Tots in Doctor Who, a Romulan captain in Star Trek, and Colonel Edmund Munro in The Last of the Mohicans. Maurice loved nothing more than being on set with his fellow actors and worked right up until the end, recently being seen in the BBC series The Nest at the start of this year. As well as being a truly dedicated and gifted actor, he was also a real gentleman and a delight to have as a client. We will miss him greatly, and our thoughts and love go out to Vanessa and his family," unquote. Now, he also had a role in 1995's Judge Dredd. He's appeared on Cheers, Baywatch, Days of Our Lives, and many other shows. We send our condolences to the United Kingdom. Now let's go to Star Wars news. And we begin Star Wars news with the reopening of Disney's properties, which I'm sure not everyone is clamoring to go and visit Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with the pandemic on. Well, good news, there's a book for that. Sci-Fi Wire posted an exclusive look at the book Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Traveler's Guide to Batuu. Author Cole Horton told them, quote, "We always had in mind that this could be for people who hadn't yet been to the land, and it could also be for people who have been to Galaxy's Edge. I never anticipated writing it in the context of a pandemic, and now something like this could provide people a way of going to this place even with all of us staying home for a while. I think now, knowing where we've come, I'm even more excited that this is going to be out there in the world, and hopefully it provides people a way of experiencing Batu while we're all sheltering in place. Unquote. The book was influenced by the Rick Steves travel guide of the 20th century and is told from the point of view of Alec Throno and his droid companion. The book is now on sale. You can look for the preview on Sci-Fi Wire, the link in the show notes. Giancarlo Esposito will be back for season 2 of The Mandalorian, due out in October, and he's promised that it was going to be great, saying about conversations he's had with showrunner Jon Favreau, quote, "I've had a chance to have some conversations with him, so I haven't seen any of season 2 yet, but it's going to be power-packed, and I think John's mind, he's probably already writing season 3, unquote. Now, Disney has delayed the new series of Star Wars films by a year. The first will be going from December 16th, 2022 to December 22nd, 2023. The next one will go from December 20th, 2024 to December 19th, 2025. And the last one will be going from December 18th, 2026 to December 17th, 2027. And just a little bit of news throughout while we're going out Star Wars news, Taika Waititi has confirmed that he's in the process of writing a new film. He spoke of this with the BBC, just saying, "We're writing." So there's that. Now, let's go on to geek news. Well, streaming services have been doing well this year with the pandemic and all, no more so than Netflix, which in its second quarter investor letter reported that the company netted 10.1 million new subscribers, netting $6.15 billion in revenue, netting a payout of $1.59 a share. However, they think that the second half of 2020 won't be as lucrative, saying that they expect less growth for the second half compared to the prior year. As they, quote, "navigate these turbulent circumstances, we're focused on our numbers by continuing to improve the quality of our service and bring new films and shows to people's screens," unquote. By the way, I hold a fractional share of Netflix, so in all due diligence, just thought I'd put that out there. The big budget movie Tenet has been completely taken off the schedule by Warner Brothers. Now, the movie was due in theaters next month and has already been twice delayed. Now, a market analyst for Cohen says that he doesn't think movie theaters in general will be open until next year, saying, quote, "We had previously assumed that the spread of COVID-19 would be relatively halted, with social distancing requirements significantly lessened by late 2020. We have now extended that timeline out to at least mid-2021. The situation remains very fluid, and we do not rule out the possibility that the impact could last even longer. We now expect domestic theaters to be largely closed until mid-2021, and in part because we don't think theaters will be interested in releasing their largest movies into a capacity-constrained footprint," unquote. You know, all in all, he's probably right. But that means that there's going to be this glut of movies that's either going to sit in a vault somewhere until this is all over, or the studios will just have to, release them digitally like some other films. So, give and take. Now, Bill and Ted the movie is coming to theaters and on demand on September 1st. While we're talking about movies that have been delayed, this one was delayed from earlier in the year, so we'll at least get to see the new Bill and Ted movie. Well, that's great. And here's in other news, What We Do in the Shadows Season 3 will spend some time exploring Colin Robinson's origins. Now, during the panel at the SDCC Comic-Con at Home, executive producer Paul Sims told fans that there might be a search that Colin goes on in order to have a better understanding of himself. He also hinted that Nandor might be searching for love. So, ladies, watch out for an awkward vampire. The Orville stars, Adrian Palicki and Scott Grimes, have filed for divorce a second time. They first filed papers in July of last year, but it was withdrawn in November. Now it's apparently on again. Perhaps having to shelter together just didn't work out? Well, we'll never know. But we don't have to worry about the next season of the show. Fortunately, that was filmed prior to the pandemic and should debut on Hulu this fall. Some sad news. Regis Philbin has passed away at the age of 88 from natural causes. Now, Regis had a long career holding the Guinness World Record for the most hours on United States television. His TV work began in 1962 as the announcer for The Tonight Show. In 1964, he even got his own show, but that didn't last very long. Now, he's shown up on many shows, oftentimes portraying himself, and he's appeared on shows like Get Smart, Rowan Martin's Laugh-In, Chips, Fantasy Island, Kung Fu Legend Continues, Seinfeld, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Spin City, The Simpsons, Hercules, and Family Guy. But he's most famous for being the host of several game shows. Several game shows like Password Plus, The New Hollywood Squares, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, among others. Now, he's also known, of course, for sitting next to opinionated women like Kathy Lee Gifford, Kelly Ripa, or his wife Joy on the Live With show for starting in 1988. He's also co-hosted the Miss America pageant, appeared at WrestleMania 7, and done much, much more. He is survived by his wife and kids. We also mourn Mythbuster star and White Rabbit Project host Grant M. Hara, who passed away suddenly of a brain aneurysm at the age of 49. Now, Grant was a brilliant electrical engineer and roboticist by training when he joined Mythbusters in the third season and was with the show until 2014 when he, Carrie Byron, and Tori Belleci left. They would later reunite for Netflix's short-lived The White Rabbit Project. He was born in Los Angeles on October 23rd of 1970 and studied electrical engineering at the University of Southern California. After graduating, he got a job at Lucasfilm's THX Labs, and during his time there, he became chief model maker, specializing in animatronics, working on the Star Wars prequels, the Matrix sequels, Galaxy Quest, The Lost World Jurassic Park, and many other films. In 2000, he competed on BattleBots and was the first season's middleweight runner-up. He then joined Mythbusters, but later, as being a fan of Star Trek, he got to play Hakuryu Sulu in the fan-made web series Star Trek Continues. Grant was survived by his family. He was engaged once, but never married. He will be missed. And that brings us to the end of the sci-fi news. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom, and we're also on Patreon, on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute, please go to mtpodcast.com to go to the Coffee, Patreon, or Glow.fm links, as well as go over to Multiverse Tonight and hit the support link at the top of the page. Be sure, also, while you're there, to visit and check out the affiliate marketplace links, the link to the TeePublic store, now with masks, show notes, and so much more. And if you're a subscriber, be sure to share us with your friends, reach out and touch someone. And if you're brand new to the show, welcome. Be sure to subscribe, leave us with some feedback if you want, and let me know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for our intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the Sci-Fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just a couple of days with the comic book edition, and 2 weeks with a new sci-fi edition. Now please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2020, all rights reserved. No, let's stop. Yeah. I figured it out. I had the wrong input open and the right input closed. Yeah. Yeah. let's record the comic book edition again. Oh well, at least at least I got practice. Let's put it that way. And tonight, Batgirl's series ends, the Maestro's story begins, and the Rick and Morty star almost meets a tragic end. All that and more on this comic book edition of Multiverse tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Town. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 87 of Multiverse Tonight. This is the comic book edition. Now, I had originally planned this year to go to Planet Comic-Con way back at the beginning of the year. Of course, the pandemic stopped that. Then they rescheduled it for August, and the pandemic stopped that. So, all in all, I've gone to 0 comic book conventions this year. Oh well. Better safe than sorry. But we do have, of course, San Diego Comic-Con at home. There was some news out of that. I wasn't really impressed with the news that came out of that. There's some. It's almost like some of the panels I don't think were even trying. It's just like, hey, we all see each other on TV. Woo! Anyway, let's hope that 2021, we can all get our acts together, so we can all get out, go to movies and conventions and whatnot. Worry less about giving each other a virus. Anyway, let's go to the DC news. DC will be releasing a comic book prologue to Wonder Woman 1984 this September. The special will initially be exclusive to Walmart for the first week before being released to the general market. We'll have 2 stories, one by Louise Simonson and Wonder Woman 1984 associate producer Anna Obrapta, and illustrated by Brett Blevins, and we'll see Wonder Woman deal with a hostage situation at the Smithsonian Natural History Museum. And the second story, from Steve Pugh and Marguerite Sauvage, will see a villain attempt to steal Diana's lasso. Now, the cover art comes from Nicola Scott. Wonder Woman 1984 #1 will be released in Walmart on September 20th and will be in comic book stores on September 29th. Wonder Woman 1984, the movie, will be in theaters on October 2nd. Maybe. Possibly. We hope. DC is bringing back American Vampire for one more run. The series, from Scott Snyder and Raphael Albuquerque and colorist Dave McCaig, is coming back with American Vampire 1976. Hey, that was the year I was born. Scott Snyder, in a statement, said, quote, "The characters in 76 are in a really dark place in terms of the fight against evil. The 70s mirror our current era in many ways, the anxiety, the fear, and the re-examination of American identity." The book opens on Skinner Suite, working outside of Vegas, doing death-defying Evel Knievel-style stunts, trying to die. There's a kind of Son of Sam plot in New York City with Cal and Travis, a political thriller plot with Felicia, and all sorts of 70s iconography. It's my favorite arc so far, unquote. American Vampire 1976 #1 will be released digitally and in comic book stores on October 20th. The current Batgirl series will end with issue number 50. Writer Cecil Castel-Lucier will confirm the news on Twitter, saying, quote, "It's been announced that 50 is the series finale of Batgirl. One to say that end has been in the works for a long time. It was planned because there were other things upcoming that didn't happen. Fiercely proud of bringing Babs to here, meanwhile 47 out next week. Unquote. The extra-sized issue will be out on October 27th and will be priced at the low, low price of $5.99. Neil Gaiman's The Sandman will not be dumbed down for TV, according to the best-selling author, who serves as writer, producer, and advisor for the Netflix series. Speaking with Radio Times, Neil said, quote, "The joy of doing it as a Netflix series is we aren't in the place where we're throwing things out. In fact, it's the other way around. Sometimes that means that a lot more stuff gets to happen because we have room for it. But we're never throwing things out, and we're never abandoning things, and that, in itself, is a complete joy." Unquote. This should make any fan of the comic book series very happy. Now, there has been no release date for the Netflix series. Of course, there hasn't been a lot of no release dates for much lately. Now, would you like to see Keanu Reeves in another Constantine movie? Maybe, maybe not. You can never say never. We are actually getting a new Bill and Ted movie after all. Constantine director Francis Lawrence, in a recent interview with Slash Film, spoke about his original plans for a sequel and what he would want to do with it today. He said, quote, "I think we all wanted to do it. It was successful enough. We wanted to make a responsible, more R-rated movie. By responsible, I mean we'd make a movie that wouldn't cost quite as much as the original, which we thought was going to be PG-13. We worked on the sequel for a while. It was tricky to come up with where to take it. What I really liked about the first one was it was a really, really personal story. So I thought it'd be a mistake to get caught up in the supernatural gobbledygook. The idea of a personal story was really interesting, and that was the hard thing to come across. Now, we have been talking about recently. It's always stuck with all of us because we all love the movie, and especially realizing that there's a real cult following for this movie. It'd be fun to make. Keanu, Akiva, and I have actually talked about it." Unquote. Now, the original Constantine movie is now 15 years old. I think I'd like to see it. Black Adam has a new actor to join the cast. Noah Centineo will be joining as the hero Adam Smasher. Adam Smasher has previously appeared on an episode of The Flash, and if the film ever gets in front of cameras, well, that's kind of up in the air right now. DC has announced a new Watchmen sequel called Rorschach. The 12-issue project comes from Tom King and George Fornes, and is set 35 years after Watchmen and sees Rorschach emerge and attempt to assassinate President Redford. Now, let's go on to the Marvel news. Hulu's Marvel series Hellstrom has an official release date of October 16th. The show follows Damon and Anna Hellstrom, the son and daughter of a mysterious and powerful serial killer who uses their powers to track down the worst of humanity. Unquote. I don't know. I think that might be an interesting show. Yeah. The trailer was interesting, at least. And while we're waiting for the fallout from the next Spider-Man movie, the third movie in the current franchise has been pushed back. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to December 17th, 2021. Will it be moved again? Who knows? Marvel is canceling Strike Force with August issue number 9. Here's the blurb. Quote, "It's a death match of no-holds-barred sports entertainment at the center of King Deadpool's Monster Island. Strike Force finds themselves divided between their mission to contain the dangerous Friday and the sweet, sweet taste of competitive victory. Can this team of misfits stay together long enough to complete their mission?" Unquote. Now, originally, there were going to be 10 episodes of this comic, but coronavirus cut it short. The Maestro's origin tale will finally be told. Peter David is returning to the Incredible Hulk to write how Future Imperfect's Hulk became twisted enough to become the ruler of the world. In a statement, Mr. David said, quote, "I had no idea when I first created the Maestro for Future Imperfect that he would have the kind of popularity and staying power he has now. Until now, only been able to allude to his origins, so I was thrilled to have the opportunity to explore them in this series, and I can't wait for fans to see all the artwork that's been coming in. Here's the blurb, quote, "Almost 30 years after the landmark story, Future Imperfect, legendary Incredible Hulk scribe Peter David returns to the far future version of the Hulk, known as Maestro, the master of what remains of the world. With astounding art from Hulk veteran Dale Keene and up-and-comer German Perlata, Maestro will answer questions that have haunted Hulk fans for years and inspire some new ones. How did the world fall and the Maestro rise? What happened to the world's heroes in between? And where's the Hulk we know and love? Find out here. Maestro #1 hits shelves in August." Marvel's Hawkeye series for Disney Plus has got a few more directors. Bert and Bertie, the directors best known for Amazon's Troop Zero, have been tapped to helm a couple of episodes. Also, directing will be Rice Thomas, who has directed Saturday Night Live and Amazon's Comrade Detective. Now, Jeremy Renner will be back to reprise the role of Hawkeye as he mentors a new archer, Kate Bishop. Now, Haley Stanfield had been tapped to play Kate, but there's no indication that a deal has been struck. Now, of course, Hawkeye was supposed to debut this fall, but of course that's been Corona delayed as well. Chris Evans truly embodies Captain America, the hero so moved over the story of 6-year-old Bridger Walker of Cheyenne, Wyoming, who saved his younger sister from a dog attack, received 90 stitches for his heroic act. The actor sent him a personal message and gifted him with his own Captain America shield. He sent a video message that said, quote, "Pal, you're a hero. What you did was so brave, so selfless. Your sister's so lucky to have you as a big brother. Your parents must be so proud of you. Keep being the man you are. We need people like you. Hang in there. I know recovery might be tough, but based on what I've seen, I don't think there's much that can slow you down," unquote. Now, Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland have also sent messages to Bridger. Robert Downey Jr. promising something even better than a shield by the boy's next birthday, and Tom Holland inviting him to see the set of the third Spider-Man movie and the Spidey suit up close. You know, that little kid truly deserves a round of applause. Now, let's go to the geek news. Amazon has made a new game free to Amazon Prime members via Twitch Prime until August 7th. Prime members can download Vane. Vane takes place in a ruined desert where strange golden dust has transformed a free-spirited bird into a determined young child, which somehow sets off a chain of events that will reshape the world itself. Now, after August 7th, the game will still be available, but will cost you $20. So, get it now. Lego and Nintendo have partnered to make a Lego version of the Nintendo Entertainment System. The set has 2,600 pieces, and in a statement, Martine Simmons, the creative lead on the Lego Nintendo Entertainment System, said, quote, "Super Mario has been a cherished figure in the gaming world for over 30 years now. Many adults still fondly remember the first time they saw Mario leap across the small screen, even if the graphics were a lot simpler than they are today. With the Lego Nintendo Entertainment System, we're letting them truly indulge in that nostalgia, recreating one of the most loved consoles of all time, so they can see the Super Mario from their childhoods once again, and even to share the experience of gaming in the 1980s with their own children," unquote. Now, the Lego NES is a mechanically functional Lego version of the game system. It comes with a buildable retro TV and a flat 8-bit Mario figure that goes on the screen that scrolls along. Also included is a Lego Mario from the Lego Super Mario Starter course that, once plugged in, reacts to the on-screen enemies, obstacles, and power-ups like it was a real game. The Lego NES will be available from the Lego retail stores and Lego.com starting on August 1st for $229.99. In 2021, you'll be able to get it from other retailers. Rob Liefeld's Snake Eyes Dead Game #1 has officially sold out and will be going back to the presses for a second printing. The comic took just a day to reach the sold-out status. This second printing will come out with a new second cover from Rob Liefeld. Liefeld, in a statement, said, quote, "As I've shared with anyone and everyone, Snake Eyes is a dream assignment, and getting to depict G.I. Joe characters is one of the greatest thrills of my career. I am so excited that fans of all ages showed up and consumed our first issue and sold us out. Thank you to everyone at IDW and all the fine folks at Hasbro for this opportunity. And huge thanks to all the fans for your support. The best is yet to come," unquote. Well, that's good. I've been looking at the new G.I. Joe action figures that we have at the Walmart, the full-sized ones, and they look pretty good. Disney's adaptation of the one and only Ivan will be going to Disney Plus instead of theaters. The one and only Ivan is the story of Ivan, a 400-pound silverback gorilla who shares a communal habitat in a suburban shopping mall with Stella the elephant, Bob the dog, and other animals. He only has a few memories of the jungle, but when a new baby elephant named Ruby arrives, it causes him to question his life, where he comes from, and where he wants to be. The live-action and CGI movie stars the voices of Sam Rockwell's Ivan, Angelina Jolie as Stella, and Danny DeVito, Helen Mirren, Shaka Khan, Mike White, Brooklyn Prince, Ron Funches, and Philippa Zhu, so round out the voice cast. They're joined in live action by Ramon Rodriguez, Ariana Greenblatt, and Bryan Cranston. It will premiere on Disney Plus in August. Keanu Reeves is teaming up with writer Matt Kind to write a new 12-issue limited series from Boom Studios, Berserker. Spelled B-R-Z-R-K-R. Will be a monthly series with art by Alessandro Vida, and has been described by the writers as action-packed and hyper-violent, and, quote, centers on a warrior who looks a lot like a certain beloved actor and has walked a blood-soaked path across the world for centuries. In present day, the Berserker does dangerous jobs for the U.S. government in exchange for the truth about his existence, unquote. Now, Keanu also told USA Today, quote, "We're excited about what's happening. The story's taking some real interesting twists and turns," unquote. Berserker comes to comic book stores on October 7th. Director Richard Linklater is making a new animated movie for Netflix called Apollo 10.5, a space-age adventure. The film is set against the backdrop of the Apollo moon mission in 1969 and is inspired by his childhood in Houston, Texas, and tells the story of two interwoven perspectives: the astronaut mission control view of the moon landing and the perspective of an excited kid watching the action on TV. The live-action part of the movie wrapped up in March, and the animated part is being done by Minnow Mountain in Austin and Submarine in the Netherlands. Apollo 10.5 will star Jack Black, Zachary Levi, Glenn Powell, Josh Wiggins, Milo Coy, Lee Eddy, Bill Wise, Natalie Lamour, Jessica Byrne Cohen, Sam Chipman, and Danielle Gilbot. No release date has been given, but I'm guessing 2021 or 2022, probably. Usagi Yojimbo is finally getting his own animated series. The Samurai Rabbit, created by Stan Sakai back in 1904, has previously made appearances in 1990's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series. He'll now be getting a new show on Netflix called Samurai Rabbit: The Usagi Chronicles. The series will have Saki overseeing the show as executive producer alongside Gaumont, Nicholas Atlan, Terry Killigan, Sidney Dumas, and Christopher Rundy. Also serving as executive producers alongside Dark Horse's Mike Richardson, Keith Goldberg, and Chris Tung, and Atomic Monsters' Juan, Michelle Clear, and Rob Hackett. Candace and Doug Landale will be the showrunners as well as executive producers. That is a lot of executive producers. The Walking Dead is getting a full-color re-release. The comic is getting an issue-by-issue re-release in glorious color. The original comic was drawn but not colored. David McCaig will color the so-called deluxe revival of the series with variant covers from artists like David Finch, Tony Moore, Julian Totino Tedesco, and Arthur Adams. The first issue of The Walking Dead Deluxe will hit store shelves on October 7th, with 2 issues released every month thereafter. And this news is a little disturbing, but it ends up well. Rick and Morty voice star Spencer Grammer is recovering after being attacked by an intoxicated man. Spencer is the daughter of Kelsey Grammer and the voice of Summer Smith on Rick and Morty. This past Friday, she was at an outdoor cafe in New York City called the Black Ant. A man who appeared intoxicated, according to reports, came to the cafe near closing time and demanded to be served. It was refused, and that's when things escalated. Spencer, speaking with Us Weekly, said, quote, "My friend and I did what anyone else would do in the same situation. Several others, predominantly women, were also attempting to prevent the altercation from escalating. The man responded to this by slashing her with a knife and stabbing one of Spencer's friends. She continued to tell us, quote, "I sustained a laceration on my arm, and my friend was stabbed in the back, but thankfully he suffered no serious internal injuries. We expect to recover quickly. We want to thank the first responders and the staff at Bellevue Hospital who provided us with excellent care. They fought incredible battles here, and it was very moving for us to have an opportunity to thank them in person," unquote. Now, the unidentified man has ran away and has not been apprehended. We wish Spencer and her friend good health. And here's a show note for you. The 2020 Eisner Award winners have been announced. The list is really long. I'm not going to go into it, so if you'd like to check them out, please visit our show notes. Archer Season 11 will arrive on FXX on Wednesday, September 16th. Well, try that again. Try to liquid in my mouth. Archer Season 11 will arrive on FXX on Wednesday, September 16th. Don't have FXX? No problem. It will arrive on FX on Hulu on the 17th. Season 11 finally sees Archer waking up from the coma he's been in the past 3 seasons, putting the show into 3 seasons of set in his dreams. Now, they didn't reveal much during the panel, but they did say that Simon Pegg and Jamie Lee Curtis will guest star this season. Some more tidbits from the con. The Boys on Amazon has been renewed for a 3rd season, and Marvel's newest Death Star comic will tie into The Rise of Skywalker. And that, finally, brings us to the end of the comic book news. Now, be sure to visit us on our social media. We're at Twitter, at MultiverseTom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute, please go to mtpodcast.com to give a coffee, Patreon, or glow.fm donation. You can also go to the website and visit the affiliate marketplace links, the link to the TeePublic store, show notes, and so much more. And if you're a subscriber, be sure to share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, welcome! And be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave us some feedback, I wouldn't mind that at all. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just 2 weeks with two new episodes of sci-fi and comic book news. Now, please, exit the universe in orderly fashion, put on your masks, and good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Big Genre Productions. Copyright 2020. All rights reserved.